Tony's supposed to start every week. Hello. Sorry, guys.
All good. Back on again.
We're back.
I'm too short. Should all be back on now.
I'm telling you to unsubscribe. I keep getting them all the time.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Did I upset you, Dave?
Sorry, Lee, mate. I was moving into an appointment meeting and I started it. Hey, I just wasn't happy with your content today, so I just thought give you a little bit of a boost. So everyone needs to rev up occasionally, Lee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of talking about Eric's standard. I was thinking, oh, is he at that level? So I just thought just put you under the pump, mate. Put you under the pump.
Love it.
Love it. Exactly.
Back to
All
where
right,
we
you
are.
should all be back on there. There's one missing. There was 25 before. There's now 24. There he is. He's the 25th. Get into it, Lee. All good. They're all back. Cheers.
Thank you. Okay, so what we were discussing is what is an extendable conversation. And it was said that you're going deeper into something, and you're right, you're having a more meaningful conversation. But let me save you some time. Your listing conversation is the extendable conversation compartmentalized. So what I mean by that is live mode or sell mode is one of those conversations that I'd have with you through these sessions. But that's what you bring into the phone calls where you say, I've got to ring 50 people, but I'm going to have a conversation about this. I've got to ring these 20 people, but I'm going to have a conversation about that. So you hit the phones. Hi, John and Helen. How are you? Yep, good. How's the marketplace? Amazing. But we are seeing different results the way people present the market, present the property to market than others. Oh, what do you mean? Well, if I was to come to your home now, I can imagine you're in what we call live mode. You've got all the family photos out, everything's set up the way you need it. But if you are going to come to the market, Helen, I've got to guide you to go to sell mode. And sell mode is where we pack everything away. We get all the family photos and put them in boxes, get them off site. We let the property breathe. Because when the buyer comes through the house, they're looking to buy their place, not yours. And I just sort of share that with you, Helen, because there can be a $30,000, $40,000 difference in price. And we're seeing some properties now go to the market and they're in live mode. The owners have taken a shortcut. They didn't go to the marketplace with a good digital inspection. And I think they'll pay the price for that. And we see it when the purchasers say, yeah, we were going to look at that, but I don't know, we didn't go and see it. It was undercooked. So whatever you do, Helen, it's really important that we get you into sell mode over live mode. That is what an extendable conversation is. You're actually structuring what you do to say, okay, you don't just do the listing presentation at the end. You think, I'm going to get good at this on the way through. So, and actually that's been a really interesting point. When I took you through the selling plan, there seemed to be a really good response to that. And I'm just going to cross the screen and bring that up because we had a really good response to it, but did we do something with it becomes the next question. And I'll show you a great example. So am I in full screen for everyone there? All good?
Yeah.
Tremendous. So here we are talking about extendable conversations, but in the same context, I showed you the complete selling plan. Just in the chat, is anyone taking this out to market and use it as their chat screen at this point? So yes or no? And if it's a no, pop it in there. But have you taken this plan out to marketplace? Okay, I'm seeing a few yeses. So Dan, yep, I have. Okay, good, I love it. Thank you, Brendan. And then the rest of you must be a no. And why that's a no, I don't know, unless you're doing something incredibly brilliantly better or good. But this is where structures really make a difference. So you went through that session that I did last time on, okay, this is how you do it. But I often think, do we miss what was going on? And I'll explain. When we say to the owner, we're going on a journey, and that journey has a start, it has a launch, and my job's to get you sold. And to get you sold, I've got to put all my effort into the pre-launch. And the pre-launch is where most of the work is done, so it doesn't go onto the portals and attract the wrong audience. And then post-launch, I'll be working with everyone I can to make sure we haven't undersold the asset and that you get the most amount of money for the property. To do that, I'm going to take the property through a transition of stages. And the first one is prep and design. And the prep and design stage is where 70% of our checklist is done. It's where we're getting the property to look absolutely amazing so I can take it to the next stage of VIP inspections. And as you can imagine, here in Port Macquarie, the entire world has their eyeballs on this area as we're one of the safest places on the planet. But a lot of them are overseas and they can't even get into the country. So getting the digital inspection right becomes really important. But all those VIPs will give me price engagement level so I can get a response and an offer on your property. Now, if we've done the staging really well, and by the way, there's about 14 sets of hands going to touch your property, not just myself. I'm responsible, I facilitate it, but from our design team, our marketing team, our compliance team, our leadership team, there is a lot of people involved to make sure we leave no stone unturned. And if we do it well, which we will, if we're engaged, and I do appreciate there's shortcuts out there and people offering low fees and we'll just whack it on the net. But I really hope with what I'm sharing with you today, this will prevent the property being mismarketed. Now, the wins, if we do it well, is we get a detailed offering. And that's when people receive that link and they go, this property is stunning. Look at the photography, look at the floor plan, look at the video explainer on the property of what we've got. We should make an early offer on this. Now, I love early offers, but I am noticing at the moment agents publicising that they sold it first day, full price. And I think, imagine if the whole world saw it. And although we might get an early offer, it's my job to make sure we get some fresh eyeballs on the property. And that means internationally, we take an international approach to selling real estate and the fresh eyeballs are on the property. That will get the buyers competing. And I'll have that understanding myself then that we did all we could to make sure the maximum amount of profit was generated. Now, if we don't, we're going to have some challenges. The challenges will be a below standard offering.
Someone who lives in Unit 3 at 96 College Street.
Can anyone mute that one?
I wanted to know if I could bring someone through on Friday at 2 o'clock. So they're buying the whole complex.
No, sorry, you're not allowed to.
Yeah, still for sale, yes.
Sell.
2 o'clock.
Hello, Zell.
Don't worry, we'll wait for you.
Okay.
Zell.
Thank you. Okay, bye. Sorry.
Zell, could you mute your microphone, please?
Me? Sorry.
The challenges is you'll get below standard offers, which results in low offers. Then we got the wrong audience looking at the property, and then the property will end up not sold. And what we mean by that is it's not that we couldn't sell it, but the price you're being offered is below the property's value. And we'll say to you, don't give it away. Don't sell it at that. And that's all because the campaign was done the wrong way. And that is how this whole rollout plan works and our selling plan for your property. What do you pick up when you see that particular presentation like that? Tony, I'm going to ask you the question because you seem safe on the microphone. But Tone, when you look at that and you know what challenges the agents are going through at the moment, when you look at the plan, what do you see in there?
Just keeps us, we talk about patterns, it just keeps you structured. You're singing from the same hymn sheet every time you go out. So you've got obviously a process to follow, and it'll get easier every time you do it, and you're not missing steps.
Excellent answer. Just so all of you know, that particular plan, it looks like a visual and we got some dialogue hanging off it, but it's not. There's a lot more to it than that. That's actually a project management rollout plan. It's got nothing to do with real estate. That's actually a structural thing that a system engineer uses when they do a big project rollout. And I've used that particular structure because the owner is hoping you are the best person to roll out their property. And you've really got to learn that to get it right. Now, prior to us being cut off air before, I was sharing with you what people are doing to perfect their listing presentation as best as they can. And I'll offer this to you, and Tony can facilitate who goes ahead with it or not. But I think it was in our last session. I showed you the 5 guys from Image Property and what they were doing with their price updates and so forth. And by the way, I believe you guys have had a huge increase in price updates, which is fantastic. And you're actually getting that 10 out a day now. Thank you so much. Wonderful. You know, that's what makes this whole thing give you momentum and get that gap theory that if you work hard early, you can reap the benefits later on. And I think the Michael Dowling story is a good example of that. So with the image guys, just as a sheer exercise, I did what I've done with you today and stepped through that role play. Now, what's interesting about that, if we talk about standards, each of you should be able to just chat through that and know exactly, in your own words, how you bring that all together and explain to the owner the stages. And then suddenly all our webinars come together as a beautiful thing, because what we're looking at here is your entire knowledge of real estate. And the owner's trying to buy you. And if you can't sell it well, they won't. You'll have your own challenges of below stand offering. The low offer be they go with another agent, you've got the wrong audience, and then you're not sold. So it doesn't change. But each one of you should be able to have that conversation. So I'll tell you what we do in advanced coaching. I say to each of you, don't role play it with me, because on that day you'll say, oh, I wasn't feeling good. You know, I missed my coffee this morning and I'm usually doing it better. Okay, get all that. And that's because role play is the most unusual thing to do. But Greg Bates, good example. Greg, would you like to do this? What I'm about to suggest? Is he there?
Yes,
Batesy?
sure, mate. Yep. You got me?
Yeah, you're on freeze there in your screen. So I thought you just completely lost the plot, but I can hear you. That's good.
Yep.
So Batesy, I'm going to offer this to you,
Yes.
and we're going to show it back to everyone as an example.
Okay.
Now, you're agreeing to something that you have no idea what I'm going to ask you to do. Are you a thrill seeker?
My life's a thrill seeker.
All right. And then for the rest of you that want to do this, you can speak to Tony, and then we'll see what we can do to help you. But this is what we do in advanced coaching. Greg, I want you to do a Zoom recording by yourself, no one on it, and go through that plan. Okay. And you're going to send me the video of the one you're happy with. So the 20 crap ones that you are so upset, disgusted, that I can't believe I'm at that standard, my ums, my ahs, you can keep those. But on the one that you say, I reckon this is the one I'm going to present to Lee, you shoot that one over to me. Everyone got that so far? What I then do is I pull the audio into my recording studio, and your voice starts going, and then I jump up and say, Greg, that was good, but say, instead of saying, should you sell the property, say, should you decide to release the property? Let's cross back to you. And then it keeps going along and along and along. And then suddenly I pop up again and I say, now say it this way, or don't use that word. And sometimes you guys might be using a word that you don't realize is causing drama, but the drama it's causing is that it sends a connotation to the consumer that you're a taker. You just care about commission, and you don't realize you're saying it because you don't mean it, but you're doing it 100 times and it's costing you a lot of money, because I know words. I'm a words engineer. I've done 1,000 interviews plus with real estate sales professionals. I did the Matt Steinway listing presentation word for word. I know exactly the connotation of a word and what words suit certain people and what words don't, because you can't just photocopy the words. Basically, the way you present shouldn't change. The enhancements of what you're doing is the progression. So I don't know, well, Greg, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate yourself right now as a presenter?
7.
Excellent. And what do you feel the holes are? What's the weakness?
Probably not using the right dialogue sometimes to get them to progress to the next. I don't think they're buying me, you know. Do you know what I mean, Lee?
Yep, I do.
Yeah.
So that comes in the, well, we're speaking to others, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Not convinced. You haven't
Correct.
convinced them of that decision.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really interesting, everyone. Are you convincing? How do you become convincing? I'll tell you how to become convincing. You learn what you're going to say, not robotically, but when you say it, it makes sense. So when you discuss staged marketing, when you discuss, well, interesting enough, you know, we're in this conversation about extended conversations, set plays. Advanced coaching is, if you could submit your own audio to me, I will repair it. And then you get to listen to that over and over and over. So for the Image Boys, they got theirs on the weekend. Matt Nickerson sent me an email saying, I've already taken 2 pages of notes of the things he didn't realize he was saying that were, it's not that they were wrong, but they're not first class. It's not a 10 out of 10 moment when you say it that way. You're pulling yourself back down, which means you're coming closer to the competition because we know they don't study this stuff. And being at Elders, you guys are forced into first grade because you're being provided with international training. But when we don't take it to the streets, it was a waste of training. And that was probably one of my points from last time. But if you do know how, the greats do it, and it's just this repetition. And I think it comes down also to, I want to get this right. I want to be the best in my field. Now, I'm not talking about GCI here. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about I've learned something, I understand it, and I can articulate that. Because be it on the phone or be it in the lounge room, it's just your communications program. Now, Greg, what you're going to go through here is, this is your set list. You're explaining the journey, the stages, the wins, the challenges. Now, when I explain it all to you, it makes sense, but I've done a lot more rehearsal and also was the person that put it together. And actually, it's a lot easier for the person who designs it to deliver it. Whereas you're seeing my design, if you adapt to that design, that's all good. But if you don't, you've got that friction of, oh, I wouldn't have said it that way, or I would have had 5 stages. That's all good. And that can be your presentation. But for my job, this is a world-class conversation. I just want to repeat that. This is a world-class conversation. And the reason, and I'll just see if you remember, does anyone know the reason why we got it to a 1-pager versus our other presentation, which is the selling plan with the rollout that you've got? What was the purpose of getting it into this one, especially in this time that we're in right now, and you've got your own Elders version? Answer from anyone, but what was the purpose of doing this? What was the technique we were trying to do?
Less complicated for the client.
So simple is difficult. So we wanted and it's really important you understand this, we wanted the owner to gain visibility. Now, I can say that, you go, yep, good. No, understand, a skill you need is that when you are communicating with people, that they understand what you're saying. And gaining visibility is a skill. So I designed that to, bang, hit the point that you can gain visibility, or they can gain visibility of you. But the next technique on a coaching level I'm trying to get through to you or make you better at is compression. So just imagine you've had a phone call from someone from London and they say, look, I've got 5 townhouses I've had approved forever in Port Macquarie. I've decided to flick it. I was surfing on the net. Your profile popped up. See you guys are doing quite a bit. And I just wonder if you could tell me what you would do should I engage your services. You'd want that, wouldn't you? Because you're about to go on Zoom and step through just like I do. And that should take 7 to 10 minutes to go through that. Nothing at all. Versus the lounge room grand final 2-hour thing that we used to do. I don't think people want that anymore. So it's always a challenging in coaching that you can say something and people like what you said, but do they understand what you've said is another thing. So compression, gaining visibility, allowing the owner to understand you actually know what you're doing. Now, Port Macquarie is very, very interesting. You have a massive flat line of agents who all think the exact same way. And it's really interesting. A flat line is they've all worked in each other's shops. They're all saying exactly the same things to the exact same consumer, which results in the consumer going, you're all the same. I'll go with the cheapest. And someone offered me free marketing, so that's better than you. A consumer can believe that. That's a very believable story that there is no difference. They're cheaper and I can get some free marketing. That's quite a compelling reason to pick someone. Now, sorry to bring you the truth on that, but that's the fact. And then it's only when someone has a better compelling reason where they can go in and people think, wow, there's such a significant difference between you and them. And when you see the great Stuart, and there's some great presenters, actually on the Central Coast, there'll be an underbelly on the Central Coast one day. There's some amazing presenters here. So I remember when I did the Hunter Valley Complete Salesperson course 2 years ago. If you guys haven't done that Complete Salesperson course, it's all part of your membership. There is one coming up if we're allowed to do it, but you guys actually have got prepaid tickets to that 2-day event. You should come and do that because who's in the room is amazing. And I'll never forget Matt Steinway was speaking on stage and he's talking away about his listing presentation and bang, right there in the audience is Stephen Giddos, another one of our members. And he just looks at him and goes, Stephen, every time you win a listing, I want to vomit. And what they mean is high standards here, two very highly trained people going in on the same listing, using similar techniques, and the owner's trying to make that decision and the fees are high. So all stakes are there, but you know, don't underestimate someone like Stephen Giddos. If you haven't checked out his work, he's doing some incredible work in timed auctions right now. Now, I need to bring this to your attention. Have you been watching the timed auction space and what's going on there? Does everyone, just yes or no, do you know what a timed auction is? Yes or no? In the chat? Are we there? No. No. Oh, my goodness. Okay. I'm going to get Robin to shoot Tony a link to some of the timed auction successes we've had in the last 2 weeks. And Rob's just explaining something else she's going to send to you as well, but I'll come back in tune here. Right now, a timed auction could be a great conversation for you to have, but you've got to know what it is. But be very careful someone doesn't start doing this and you don't even know what they're doing. So as part of your suite of tools with us, we are also auctionnow.com.au. So you probably know Damien Cooley from building that, but that was acquired by Realtair and we now support that platform. All good. But most people use the live online auctions where the auctioneer is there on the camera. That's not what I'm talking about. A timed auction becomes a very powerful conversation. I'll get you to write this down. This is the method of sale. Selling this week. Selling this week. That's the big hook when you're presenting this to the owner. And I'll present this to you now. John and Helen, right now in the marketplace, we're seeing so many people due to lockdown not be able to buy property in a traditional way. And there's a big request out there for the consumer that they still need to buy, but we need to facilitate that in a digital manner. So the digital sale is now what I would like to discuss with you as a great option of selling your home. And there's live online auctions that happen every week, but there's another method that I think is more suited to Port Macquarie than the auctioneer style way of auctioning at this present time when people have limited access. And it's like a digital private treaty method, meaning the normal for sale. All that happens though is the purchaser, when they sign up under auction conditions. And if they are the highest bidder, they own the property. They can't say, I've changed my mind, don't think. They are signing under auction conditions. And the method of sale is called a timed auction. So what we'll be doing is I'll be running the property for 2 Saturdays, 2 opens, just 1 week of time to let people know the property is now available and it will be going to auction under a timed auction. Now, in the last couple of examples that we've had, all the buyers have turned up. I just want to sign a contract now. I'll put my best foot forward and they all want to go ahead. And we say, we'd love you to put your best foot forward. But on Monday, the timed auction starts and it ends on Thursday night at 6:30. So register and put your offer in. You'll see any other offers. And at 6:30 on Thursday, it just times out. And if you are the highest bidder, you own the property. And just so you know, the opening bid will be the reserve. there's no hidden facts. We're not telling you all shouldn't, when's it on the market. The reserve, our owner has agreed. They are definitely selling the property this week. The opening bid will be the reserve from the owner. The next bid is going to buy it. But it times out at 6:30 on Thursday evening, and it gives us an amazing opportunity to let the buyers understand the pricing engagement level. And John and Helen, what's been happening out there in the marketplace is this. Monday, they put in an offer and they say, we're not going any more than that. And then somebody else puts in a higher offer and they go, oh. And then by Wednesday afternoon, they're thinking, we're going to have to go up another 50,000 because look what everybody else is doing. And in a live auction, it all happens so fast, sometimes too fast, people don't get time to breathe. But Monday, I feel one way about it. Wednesday, they're feeling different. And then with 1 minute to go, at 6:29 on Thursday night, we're seeing some record bids come in. And that's how we get an incredible result. But a timed auction, every time someone makes a bid, you'll get a notification. I get a notification, and so do the buyers. Is this all making sense, everyone? Now, if this is something of interest to you, I'm happy to get Jake from our team to do a live example where you guys start bidding online. But I've got to tell you, in the last couple of weeks, we have, when I say we, our agents, have won so much business, all due to two things. When you put a property on auctionnow.com.au, people can register to bid or people can register to follow. The followers have become a listing stream. And everyone knows what a listing stream is? It's just the most beautiful thing in the world. It's a listing stream. So in the Michael Dowling interview, Michael's using this exact method. But what he's doing is, and this is such an important point, puts a property to auction that he knows is going to be a cracker. Then he's got all his registered bidders. And the one he had, I think there was 25 registered bidders and 190 followers. Now, question for the team. Where do the followers come from? It's a great question, isn't it? So every property has a QR code that takes people straight to the link where they can register to follow it. Now, to follow it, you've got to put your first name, your surname, your email address, and your mobile number. Why would 190 people be following a house? They're not registering to bid, but there's 190 people following a house. Why would they do that? Any answers? Tone, what do you think?
Oh, the obvious one is just a standout property, and it's the marketing's been outstanding.
Yep, there's more to it. Any coming in the chat there? Buy mode, no. I'll tell you why. Because people like Michael Dowling and Shane Slater go to their database, look up all their potential sellers and flick out this link saying, hi, Tony, this property's going to timed auction this Thursday. The buyers who buy this place would buy your house. Register and just check in on the auction and follow it throughout the week, because you'll be amazed at what pricing you're going to see on this particular property. It's right within your range. So you actually go out to all your prospects saying, you've got to follow this, you've got to follow this. But as they follow it, so Max from Lower North Shore had 3 listings from followers, and they've never heard of timed auctions before. They're following this thing and they go, look at the offers now, look at the offers now. And then when he gets back and they go, oh, that was just amazing. We want to sell our house like that. And they are listing properties due to that method versus you're all the same. You all do the same thing. This is not the same. But the buying community is onto this. They absolutely love it. 2 Saturdays ago, 10 million notifications went off that site because people can't go out. They can't go to the pub. So they're watching the auctions. And I urge all of you at the end of today's session, go to auctionnow.com.au and just register as a consumer. And you might want to type in Port Macquarie, by the way, and just see if there's anyone using it there. I don't know if they are or not. I've never even typed that in. But if you go search, and you can search by postcode or area, I hope no one in Port Macquarie is using this. I really don't. Now, quite often they can be because of the auctioneer. So if the auctioneer is doing the live online auction, they may be using our platform and the agent doesn't know anything about it. But if no one's doing this, we definitely need to learn the timed auction conversation. And I'll give you an example. I mentioned before about Rob's mum's properties going on the market. Got the stylers in there at the moment, painters, all that stuff's going on. And even the agent was like, oh, I've got buyers for this. I don't care. Get your buyers through. But the auction will start and the reserve will be the first bid. It times out on Thursday night at 6:30 and they can all go for it. But I don't want the best contract right now to say an answer. I want the whole world to have a chance at it. And it's amazing that, are you selling properties fast, too fast? Because I still notice up there, people are publicising on social in Port Macquarie, sold it Thursday, full price. What a lunatic thing to say on social. Imagine if everyone saw it. How much money did you leave on the table becomes a conversation. And that is an issue versus being the most up-to-date, current, relevant team in the country. You've got this opportunity to say, I want to discuss this with you. But I'm more than happy to get Jake to take you guys through a live simulation, but you guys can log on to that at any time and start using that. It's a great method of sale. And you know, you've got an option. Let's say, and this is going to happen, so I may as well discuss it. The market's going to transition, isn't it? At some point. And I'll tell you what the term of that is, because I've seen this happen so many times in my career. The market will go from nuts to normal. That's the terminology. The market will go from nuts to normal. And when it flattens and it calms down a bit, you've got to really be sure that you can be mentally ready for the next level of conversations and don't panic thinking, oh, the world's ending and so forth. It's not about that. It's actually about, it's what happens. It's nuts to normal. So suddenly it flattens like this. And in a non-speed market, you can use a timed auction to get the pricing right. So for example, I'm going to give you a new term. Please write this down. It's a combination sale. So in a combination sale, and this is for your next part of the marketplace, you'll go into the owners and say, John and Helen, let's discuss your methods of sale. We have sale, we have auction, we have timed auction, or we can run what we call a combination sale. And then what's a combination sale? Well, separate to the general public, there is a whole world of people on auctionnow.com.au following properties, buying real estate digital. And for the international audiences, that's pretty much where they're making a decision and transacting real estate. So I'm happy to put your property on a timed auction for 2 weeks and we'll see what the highest bid we get is. And if you like that bid, you can release the property and sell it. If you don't, we're just going to price the property and start our normal for sale campaign. And we'll use the timed auction to give us a buyer engagement level. And then we will go live with our normal campaign. But running a combination sale means we are selling your property with a non-ceiling price instead of a ceiling price. Would you be open to have me facilitate the sale using a combination sale? Now, key words there is, would you be open to me facilitating? Facilitating is a really important word, but the fact you're up to date with these things and this new international method, and you know, we are directly connected to the companies that pull this together, is how it all comes together. Does that make sense, everyone? And it really brings some patterns to your conversations and what you'll be doing. Okay. Can you write in the chat, what is your key learning today, please? And I'm really looking forward to Batesy's Zoom video coming through to me on this. Okay. Another new thing coming our way. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your type-ins. Very needed, very, very important. And we're recording, which was good, so we didn't miss that last part. Tony, I'll reach out to you to get Jake to do a timed auction example and a presentation.
Thanks, Lee. Appreciate that.
And if you guys use it or not use it is not the point. You need to understand it's out there because the conversation is going to come up. And as a professional, we've got to know all methods of sale. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week, and I will speak to you soon.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
so much, Lee. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
You there? Hello.